allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, tonight's meeting will be audio taped by council and videotaped by Michael Coulson. At this time, we'll take public comment, and please limit your comments to 5 minutes. Lately, we've been over the 5-minute period. We'll limit it to 5 minutes. Say your name and address.
Mickey Ryan on Garfield Street. I've been in contact with the police department, and with the rash of incidents that we've had up here, we're going to plan a crime watch meeting for May 14th at 7 o'clock if we could use this building.
I see no reason why. We think there's any objections that I'll make a motion to use it. I don't really think we need a motion.
Thank you.
What date did you say? May what?
May 14th,
What time, Nikki?
7 o'clock. That way both officers can be here. And Officer DeHagen had said maybe if we wait till we get it in the paper and stuff. I thought maybe sooner we got it, the better it would be, but.
I'll second that.
And then I'll put it on the community board down in the fire hall too.
Yes.
I'll see you.
Pardon?
I'll see you.
All right. Here's your idea.
We need somebody to take minutes.
Well,
She's out of front.
I don't use your hand, but I do. I think that's what's.
All right, got a motion on the floor for the crime watch to use the municipal building for crime watch, first meeting May 14th, 7 p.m., second by Paul. Favor?
You're welcome.
All right. Anybody else?
Okay, Ann Jones. The reason I'm here this evening, I read in the paper where you're planning on blacktopping some streets here in Wkcm, such as maybe Cleveland Street. I was wondering if maybe they would consider that little street in front of my house, because the last time they did Arthur Street, they did the opposite side of residential, but they didn't do the side where I live. I've been there 53 years, it's been blacktopped one time. So I thought maybe you guys would take that into consideration.
I'll turn that over to the street committee. They're the ones that have been
Okay.
going through the streets to see what we're going to pay and what needed paid. Eddie?
What was your number, your street address?
115
And
residential.
wants to know if the street in front of their house would be paid. I said, you are in charge of the street pay.
Right now, the bids have gone out for the streets that we're gonna do for this year. I'm sorry, Ann.
What's something we can look into for next year when they?
It's always been tarred and chipped, but not blacktop.
It's not an alley, is it?
No,
It's a
it's a
street.
street.
So it's something that we can look into next year.
It's residential. Well, we'll have to see. I don't think we're gonna do
Anybody else?
too much time.
Gary Hackman, 304 Garfield Street. I just wanted to see if the solicitor come up with anything to, add any type of ordinances to take care of the problem we're having on Garfield Street.
I honestly couldn't find anything that is going to legally be able to address that, because either way, you're trying to tell people that they can't park on a public street, and I just don't feel comfortable drafting something.
What about something that, like, residents are required to park in front of their own residences? You can't do that?
You can't do that, no.
Why does he have two vehicles?
He has
One
four.
stays.
He has
His
four.
company?
He has 2 company vehicles, a 6x24 trailer, which is sitting down there
I
right now,
saw that.
and a white Chevy Impala, which belongs to him.
I mean,
In one
But
of
he
those
has two
houses,
company trucks.
2 company trucks, 1 trailer, and a car.
Does he have 2 people that work out of the house with that same company?
I don't know what his personal situation is, I do not have contact with
That
him.
one sits in front of your house all the time, like it doesn't leave, it doesn't seem,
Only if she goes to get groceries or something.
so it must be their company.
No, it's not. This company is nationwide. I did look it up on the computer. The company, AK Railroad, is nationwide. Their local office branch is in McMurray, Pennsylvania.
It's a tricky situation. I mean, you gotta watch what you do. You enact an ordinance, then it's gonna affect everybody in the municipality.
Well,
And then we're gonna have everybody here complaining because we enacted this ordinance that you can only park, this person can only park here, that
And
person.
those
But
trucks
according
right
to
on
this-
Garfield Street are danger accidents that
Yeah.
happen up on the upper end, and then there's an alley right there, goes right into Birdie's residence. You could come out of there, and I came down Garfield the other day. Those big things were on this side, and now I believe Anthony's are coming with their travel home. So then it was on the other side, so 3 are trying to go through.
Now, did you say,
And as far as trailers and
Trailers.
things like that, you could address that, but to get into how many other people have work vehicles
yeah,
that park on the
can you
street.
look into something about trailers?
Yeah, and then trailers and you name trailers like Winnebagos and things like
Well,
that.
And utility
Well,
Can it include, like flatbed trailers, construction flatbed trailers?
This is a red box trailer. It's 10 feet long, 10 by 18. I just passed it along.
You look into that,
Yeah.
pass that for us.
It's really common courtesy, if you can deal with a person and ask them, would you respect my wishes and not park in front of my home?
Mhm.
Let me ask, did you ever go down and talk to Harold Garfield Street Mall about the?
We did. We spoke with the individuals that have the vehicles down there. They have the 2 trucks that are for the gentleman and the lady that live there. They both operate out of the same company, personal vehicle there. We were doing construction also in that area, so we had a portion of the roadway that was blocked off with cones and so forth prior to this. So it's just a very limited amount of parking, and there's no restriction with regard to how many vehicles a person's allowed to own and park on the street in town. The only other thing that I've ever seen municipalities go to is permit parking. So everyone has to, pay for permit to park their vehicles on the street. If you're gonna park 5 vehicles, you have to pay for 5 permits to park the vehicles on the street. They're generally anywhere from $75 to $300 annually for you to go ahead and park from the other municipalities that we've looked at.
I don't really think we want to get down that road. There's too many people parking on the street. Now, what about these vehicles on down Garfield over here?
On the opposite side,
Yeah, up this way. Did you ever talk to them?
yeah, and there's, again, it's a situation, we have no restriction with regard to the parking portion of that. He has the vehicles that are at his location, doesn't have enough room for a larger vehicle, so he parks the larger vehicles along the streets. We advise them about, trying to keep them as tight to the right-hand side as possible, so that it allows for passable cars to go through there. Again, some of the streets are fairly restrictive as far as the width. And so at that point in time, if you get like the travel trailer, the folks are coming home and so on, that was observed earlier, you're gonna run into the situations where it gets pretty narrow in there, pretty much like a lane and a half. So somebody's gonna have to wait.
Yeah, sometimes it's not even that. Sometimes it's barely enough to get one vehicle through.
It's more.
And it's all, it's a portion of someone parking a vehicle. If they park them in the opposite direction with restriction against, parking on the same direction of travel. If I exit my vehicle, I park on the left-hand side of the roadway and I exit from the left, and it's a narrow area, I'm gonna allow myself enough room to get out. I'm not gonna park tight to the curb. Now it's sticking out further, and so just, we're kind of at a catch waiting to see what we could come up with.
One other thing, what about, we have to, which could include alleys, parking, certain, no parking from here to the corner. Could you do that on alleys too? Or would it just be main intersections?
Nobody parks on the alleys, do they?
You can't get in that alley, Paula.
That's,
That's why I brought it up, I know it's tough.
Do they park there, then?
Yeah.
Right by the alley.
yeah, I brought that up and mentioned your property.
What I'm saying is, no parking on the street or from the corner of the
If you're talking about parking back in the alley, are you talking about parking back in
getting
the alley?
off track here. Go ahead, Bob.
If you're talking about parking back in the alley, you can put no parking from here to the corner under restriction of public view. In other words, if you're attempting to exit from an alley onto a street and a vehicle is parked in an area, when you have a no parking from here to the corner portion, that would be in violation at that point because you're restricting the view of anybody making access and also creating an incident or an accident.
The no parking from,
It's generally 25 feet.
yeah, would that have to be, I think that would have to be done by ordinance, wouldn't it?
That's correct. You'd have to have that, and you'd have to list the areas where you're posting those signs.
All right. Andrew's gonna look into that, have something for us next.
You guys have, you have the specific streets and everything.
Yeah.
You want it to be all encompassing. That's all. Every
Well,
single alley.
You have to see what you come up with and then decide how we want to do it, how we want to do it. Anybody else?
Judith, it's not. I live on Garfield Street. I also am very opposed to these construction vehicles. Now, just let me make something clear. My husband works construction and he has a company truck. He also pulls a trailer at times. We do not park it down here. He finds another place to park it, so we aren't interfering. I have no idea why you can't make an ordinance that a lot of these, like dump trucks and construction backhoes, stuff like that, I mean, we're beginning to look like a construction parking site up here. I'm not opposed to people having a car, it's a business car, Comcast, whoever it is has one. But when you run into what we're running into going down Garfield Street, we're looking like crap here in West Virginia and around. It really doesn't look good. This trailer parked over there in front of this other woman's house, I do not want to look out my window and see this big red trailer sitting there. I mean, you know, I think there can be something done about trailers.
Well, that's what our solicitor's gonna look into.
Yeah, because, I mean, you guys are able to pass an ordinance, you've got a lot of thinking heads there.
Well, like I said, you gotta watch what you pass on. You pass an ordinance that says construction vehicles, or company vehicles.
Outside of people doing work there.
Then you run into the situation, because your husband brings home company vehicle.
Well, so does
He parks
my
out.
husband.
And so does her husband.
So does my husband.
So you're gonna eliminate everybody by
No,
parking?
yeah, you're not talking
No,
about
because
dump
You
trucks.
can't, you
They
can't.
park them in front of their own residences, that's the difference.
Yeah, and he tried.
So in other words, what you're trying to tell me is you want some type of ordinance that says that they have to park in front of their own residence?
Yes.
I don't think you
All right.
can't do
Well,
that.
if you
You
can't do
can't
that.
do that.
Well, what are you gonna do? My son drives a tractor trailer. Do you have room in front of your house for him to pull it in there and wait 2 weeks till he gets another job?
Believe me, I know what you're talking about, I see it all the time, but you just can't, it's public property, you can't tell people where they can and where they can't.
But you're not telling them that, but what you're doing is keeping the construction vehicles, large construction vehicles. This guy has too many. You should say somebody can have one.
So, we're gonna eliminate large construction vehicles, but small construction vehicles are allowed.
And not if you have 3 or 4. I mean, you can
Correct me
have.
if I'm wrong, you just gotta run
It's
it.
just a slippery slope, and
Yeah.
the interpretation, you're just gonna run into people challenging that.
what residence wants all these vehicles parked in front of their house? We pay taxes, I've lived here 25 years, and I've got to give my spot up to these people who are gonna pull all this equipment in here who rent.
Again, we can talk about this for the next hour, but I'm going on what the board of solicitors tell us.
Well, then, maybe you need to think a little more about what kind of an ordinance that we can pass, because I don't think you'll find a lot of residences opposed.
Again, I told you, he's gonna look into it and have something for us at the next meeting.
Well, that would be a good idea, because it can happen to any one of us. They
Believe me.
get pulled over there where I am.
When I lived down the street here, and the alcohol and drug center was here, I could never park in front of my house.
Yeah, but you're talking cars, you weren't talking construction.
I still couldn't park there.
Well, there's a guy who's a street cleaner, there's the guys trying to clean the streets in the winter, can't get down through there to do it. We end up with snow pile high.
I know that, and Bob's addressed it with these owners and asked them, and we can't force them out of there right now. There's nothing we can do to them.
Well, that's why we're here.
Nothing
These
found
guys
out on the
can't
road.
do something.
All right, 5 minutes is up. He's gonna look into it. He's gonna have something for the next meeting.
All right. Yeah.
Any other comments? All right, I need a motion for the minutes.
There's an error in the minutes, isn't there? On the, I got one comment.
We'll pass the public.
Well, it's a plus comment that you got.
Okay,
I was complaining about the sidewalk, and I walked down here today, and
and it's gone, it's fixed. Good.
on the reconvene.
Is that Cliff Neal's property?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you took
Reserve
that.
that.
You had to step up over that thing, now you can just.
Okay, thank you for commenting.
On the reconvene meeting, page 4, next to the last paragraph. Councilperson Henry made a motion to compensate Secretary County $500 for additional work she did to sort, file, destroy old records. There was a second by Councilperson Capone. Vice President Moore's, Councilperson Henry Capone, Moore's Trudgeon voted in favor. President Wisniewski, Councilman Neal opposed. I think Vice President Moore and Neal is reversed.
Yeah. Yeah, it should have been.
Yes.
He voted against it, not for it.
No, he voted for it.
Who, Henry?
Yeah, he voted for it.
It was Neal and Wisniewski that voted
Yeah,
against.
Henry voted for
I
it.
voted for it, remember.
Yes, he did, because we only had 2, and it was President Wisniewski and Cliff. That's correct.
I thought it was Henry, but
No.
I made a mistake.
That is correct.
And it was
No, because I asked Henry afterwards, and he,
Cliff voted against it.
He did.
My apologies.
And then
that is correct.
the president voted against it. Yeah,
Sorry.
Okay.
you're on.
Back to motion to approve the minutes. Nancy,
Oh, I'm going to see her.
well, you're taking notes.
Can I write?
All those in favor? Unanimous. All right, committee reports.
No, you missed the mayor's report.
Oh, I'm sorry, mayor's report.
The month of April, there were 9 traffic citations issued with regard to violations throughout the municipality, 5 warnings. For criminal, we had DUI, bad checks, access device card fraud, and simple assaults. There were also four parking violations issued under the ordinance portion of it. And as our public notice, that was due to the recent events involving the vandalism and damage to properties, we're requesting the residents report any activities that they are finding suspicious or out of the ordinary. To do so, please contact 911 immediately instead of waiting to give it information later on. That way we can have someone check into it as soon as we receive that on radio calls.
Okay, I have an update on the 2001 Chevy police vehicle. It has been repaired and is back in service. And I want to publicly thank the Wkcm Eagles for their donation of $1,500 that was used to pay in part for the cost of repair. I'd also like council for them to write a thank you letter to the Eagles organization. And follow up on the 2005 Ford USV police vehicle. Captain Hagan obtained the following 3 estimates for repair on the air conditioner heater problem. Noel Ford of Catania, $1,611.19. Taylor Auto Repair, Ford City, $1,329.70. And Mike Towing's Sales Service, Ford City, $1,214.90. If we luck out, it may not be this expensive. If they don't have to install the complete heater box. They won't know this until they tear the vehicle apart, it seems. So hopefully it won't be this much. The other item was the police department requested a refrigerator for storing their blood samples from DUI stops. I found a walk-in refrigerator online at Amazon.com for $179.99, and it's free shipping. I looked for a walk-in refrigerator at Walmart, Barker's Appliance, Staples online, Clayton Smith Healthcare, and Arms Care, but no success. So,
What did you say the price on it was?
$179.99 free shipping.
Free shipping.
And last, and the last thing, there's a $1,000 reward for information leading to the arrest and conviction of the individual or individuals who in the early morning hours of Friday, May 1st, 2015, vandalized my home and 4 other properties in the borough of Wkcm with spray paint. If anybody knows anything, would you please call the state police at 724-543-2011 or the Wkcm Police Department, 724-543-1118. And that's all.
Can I add something to that? If you know something and you contact the state police, ask for Trooper Glasgow. He's the investigator on the case.
I don't think this was against the public. I think Bob and myself were singled out, and I don't know why the other 2 individuals were part of this. But I definitely think Bob and I were singled out. For what reason, I don't know. That's it.
All right, we're going to committee reports. Public Works.
Well, they started street sweeping,
Yeah, there's that today.
and they got the pipe in over at Willis's, that's all fixed.
streets and when they're gonna be?
They're already in progress.
I know, where, like, what was already done and what's coming up, so we all know.
It'll be what should be left will be the streets east and west.
So
All the main arteries have been done,
Okay.
and some of the side streets have been done. I didn't get a chance to get up here before the sweeper quit today. But I was talking with Rick and the street sweeper gentleman.
Did it do it today?
They started today.
Okay.
All the main arteries are done, some of the side streets are done. Wednesday, if it doesn't rain too hard, they will be back up here to finish. And that'll be all of the streets here in town. And then where they had to go around cars, the borough employees, when somebody moves their car, will come along and sweep it up. And this worked out perfect today because where they went around cars in the morning, they went around in the afternoon, the cars were gone, they were cleaning up the rest of the streets.
And Rick, will that eliminate loose stones and gravel from?
You're picking up as much as they can. If the street out here is high and this is low, the truck has a vacuum on it, it can only go teeter so far and pick up.
If there are remnants, can our borough men go back and then go over?
Well, we'll see. I mean, there's just so much that everybody can do. We'll make a
I
pass
just
in
wondered about
town.
that because those loose stones are dangerous, you can slip on them.
I know, we're doing the best we can do with what we have right now.
Thank you.
I also have, we need to paint the yellow lines here in town. Been 4 years ago, I have Williams line painting, who's done for the last 2 times. We have 14,000 lineal feet of painting that has to be done. And I have a bid here of $1,700 to go ahead and paint the lines in town. You notice that the yellow lines are faded.
Where all are they at? Arthur Street?
Well, we're doing painting on Arthur Street, Northern, and Pine Hill.
And changing the stops at the intersections, and those lines are done by our guys.
So I do need a motion so I can get Williams, because they're starting to get backed up for painting for the state.
Yeah.
And we gotta get them in here
I'll
as
make a
quick as.
motion. Thank you.
Any made a motion to accept the price for painting the yellow lines on Arthur Northern Pine Hill Road from Williams, is it Williams?
Williams and Williams,
Williams and Williams.
they're out on 422 Fenton, PA.
Yeah. Second,
I'll second that. You first.
Eddie. Eddie's first. All those in favor?
All right, next thing is that we do have a telephone line finally after a year, almost, into the borough shed. And it is the same number as it was, that rings in here, does ring in over there. And that was taken care of last week by the guys.
Is that the same number?
Same number.
Yes.
Same number rings in, Carly's office rings in over there. And the recorder, if they're not there, I surmise it picks that up off of Carly's phone. We have numerous, very numerous, clogged sewer drains. What we call runoff water. We are starting to work on them in the next coming weeks. Some of them are going to mean that some of the roads are going to have to be excavated. and it's gonna take time. But, most of these have been left go for so long that, they're plugged solid. We ran it around here a week and a half, 2 weeks ago with a camera. And if you see white lines at different streets and so forth, that's where we figure are some of the major ones that have to be opened up. And we'll do what we can do. But, and also in that respect, Rick and I are working on a 4-year plan for the borough on runoff drains, manholes, or catch basins, and so forth for the borough. And that's gonna have to be added into the audit and into the agenda for maintenance of the streets. Into the budget, yeah. Thank you. But that's gonna be a major undertaking because it's gonna be a very expensive project. Things have been left go for too long, things are plugged up.
I agree. It's, not to put blame on anybody, but this stuff should have been taken care of
Years ago.
well, years ago. It should have been kept up every year.
Yeah, it should
These
have.
catch basins, you know, I'm not saying clean every one in the
No.
world, but there should have been a plan back then to,
That's why we're
Clean certain
setting up
areas
the
and-
4-year plan to start
that it's good,
to go through.
it's good we're getting to them now, because if they go any longer, then we'd have really big
Yeah,
expenses.
there's a few of them that we're gonna have to dig up the entire street. They're plugged so solid, you can't vacuum out, you can't wash them out or anything. So,
Do we have the equipment to do it?
Huh?
Have to render the equipment?
We'll probably have to
Backhoe or
well, we have a backhoe, but we may have to,
the smaller one? that we
get a
should-
small one in different places and so on. Right now, we're gonna start on a lady's yard. What's it up Harrison Street?
Harrison, sure.
We gotta go into her yard and dig up, because years ago, and I'll say years ago, in the 20s, they ran sewer line down through the middle of her yard. Before her house was ever built, that was a lot. So they ran it down through, now it's collapsing. And she has a little dog and some grandchildren playing in her backyard. Right now, we have wash buckets, red ones and pink ones, where the holes are, so everybody knows exactly about where they are and stay away from them. But that's,
Does that line run under the house?
Pardon me?
Does that
No.
line run under the house?
No,
No,
that one doesn't run under
side-
anybody's
side.
house yet. But these are all in the middle of the yard, and they just have to be taken care of before somebody falls into
And that
it.
drain that's out front's completely plugged up.
Well, it's right 5 feet off the sidewalk, it's plugged up. And
Well, I mean, the catch, I'm saying.
the catch basin, yeah, it's been cleaned out, but from the catch basin back into the yard about 5 feet, it is plugged up. But there's a big maple tree right near, so we won't know until we excavate that to see if it's the roots. But we couldn't get the camera or snake through, it's that tight.
I know the one up near Shirley's is bad.
That's what we're talking
That's
about.
what we're talking about, yeah.
Yeah, but we tried that for a long time.
Well, we got the snake, or we got the camera down over 100 feet, and that's where we were 5 feet off the sidewalk. And that's where it's blocked. Because we went through the catch basin up across the sidewalk 2 feet, and then come down 100 and some feet. And we have an idea. And that's all gonna have to be work done by hand, because it's only, some of it's only down 2 or 3 feet. And it's not worth having a backhoe try to get in there and maybe do more damage.
But like I said at the last meeting, we need to come up with a 5-year plan.
Well, that's what I just said, we're gonna have work a 4-year plan on.
Yeah, but this is something different. We can get grants for this.
We're not gonna get grants. I won't get,
We can apply for grants.
there's nothing to apply for. I've already tried. I've tried through the state, I've tried through the federal. They quit doing runoff grants last November. The only thing grants that are out there right now for is sanitary sewer grants. And I have both people that I talk to, I am on their list if anything does become available. they will call.
Well, where are you gonna get all this money?
Well, that's what we need to plan for. We'll have to see once where we can, gonna have to do prize, doing one thing, and we're gonna have to do some sewers.
That's why most of these are already,
All
we
right,
have,
but we got two old police vehicles needs replaced too. I mean, we gotta get some help somewhere. The taxpayers can't.
I know the taxpayers can't do it. Well, you can get grants for cop cars, police cars, but you can't get grants for storm runoff water right now.
well, at least we're going in the right direction. He's gonna develop a 4-year plan. You know, they can get started. A lot of this work can be done with our borough employees, if we don't have to contract them out. You know,
And
we got backhoe, we got concrete saw, we can cut the street with, you know, we got everything we need. They just have to.
anything that we need out beyond that, are just gonna have to be bid out, or, we know we're gonna do a major project. Some of it would be better off to bid it out. Now, we can use some of the liquid fuels money on storm drains. Then you say, okay, now why aren't we gonna go ahead and
You're not.
pave streets? What
Right.
do we want? Pave streets, or do we want water running into people's houses and flooding the streets? Once you get the water off the streets, then you can go ahead and pave.
I'm just saying, we need
There's gonna
help.
be rob Peter to pay Paul, and hope everything can be worked
Like
out.
you said, things have been put off for years and years and years, now it's coming to bite us.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, no, it's coming to bite you in the hind end.
Got anything else?
We got these, oh, that's down below here.
You didn't pay last year, we may not have to pay this year. I mean,
My bid's done down below. It's
What's this?
paving bids. We have paving bids.
I didn't know anything about it, she didn't say anything.
There's two of them here.
Okay. We'll do that under, new business.
That's
Oh,
all-
I see it now. Okay, then we
That's
go.
all I got right now.
Buildings.
Nothing. Oh, we are going to, we got a letter stating that we still owed Infinity X number of dollars. Carly went through the pages, went through the checks and so forth, and found out that we do not owe them the $6,000+ that they initially said. We owe them $2,300, $2,380 compared to the almost $7,000 that they were, and we do have proof of the checks and so forth to them.
2380?
Yeah. 2000.
2380 instead of 6.
why did they go back and fix it? Yeah, six.
Well,
And-
it's supposed to be a warranty agreement in here.
Yeah, but the guy who the liability was with
The
died.
bond company,
They're out of
he
business.
died, and then, so they couldn't, no other bond company would then issue it for them because they haven't been a part of the whole process from the beginning.
So, other
I
words,
spoke with Mike Mail, I don't know.
we don't have a warranty?
No,
No, there is
I
one.
got
okay, they're part of the warranty here, yeah.
Yeah. That's in place of the
Okay.
bond. There was just no other way to.
Now, who's going to enforce this? I mean, who's going to, if we have a problem, we call, takes care of
Board
it?
of us, me.
We got a call.
No, I
I
mean,
mean, what do you mean?
you're saying we have a warranty, still have a warranty, 2-year warranty on the building?
That's what, it's in.
Yeah.
I can show it to you.
Yeah, I see it.
You're saying,
What I'm
so
saying is.
if something was wrong in the building, who's gonna?
Who do we contact?
The Senate.
Yeah, who's gonna stand by the warranty to fix it?
I mean, Senate's not gonna be, we'll have to enforce it against them and make them, I mean, I don't
Who's
understand.
Infinity?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's what I mean.
Yeah, there is no bond company involved
Yeah.
anymore, so.
That's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
You'd have to.
Yeah, it'll be Infinity Current.
Finance, insurance, personnel,
Everything's perfect. Not perfect.
shade tree.
Nothing active, but I did have one resident report a couple big pine trees over on the corner Residential and North Crescent. And I took a picture of them. I told Paula about it tonight, and we're going to go over and check it out. They're obstructing the vision when you pull out the residential and make a right onto Crescent. Now, they appear, they're probably on his own property, and they are trimmed. They're shaped, but they are big, and they do kind of obstruct the vision.
Did he want to cut it out?
Don't know, we haven't even.
No, somebody just
we haven't-
complained about
Oh.
it.
Just a neighbor complained or mentioned it to me, and I said I would check it out. And, see if they're on his property or our property. It looks like somebody went around that corner with a weed eater or something and cleared the ground, but the trees are there, So, the house is actually on Harrison, the backyard, and then the corner of that lot is on residential Crescent.
I know what you're talking about.
Used to be Strader's property, but it used to be George's.
George's.
Yeah. So we'll just look into it and then we can give you a report.
Anything else? Police committee, anything?
No, nothing. Present time.
All right, done, unfinished business. Lori Grider's here. She did the audit this year for us. She's here for the purpose of any council people want to ask her any questions about how she arrived at anything in the audit. I just have one question.
I have a couple of questions.
Go ahead.
Hey, on the charges for service, 362.00.
I probably need to look at what you're looking at, because I got the compiled financial, it's not DCBD.
That's maybe what that is.
Yeah. I'm probably going to write some of this down to answer these questions, because I didn't know you were going to be asking specific questions about this form. I'm Lori Griner. I did the audit. It was an audit other than the figures that went on the state filing. And basically, I came up with a compiled financial statement. Did you see this? Did you ever see this?
Yes, I have it.
So they should all tie in. You're asking about,
Public safety.
everyone got a copy of that, right? I'd have to go and look at the details to find that, so I can get back to you on that. 362?
Also, 401 and 402. I'm just curious to know what it's actually.
All the numbers came out of the information that was in QuickBooks, and it all ties into there, so I just have to look at the email in the computer.
All right, thank you.
I've got one question for you. Public safety, police, it's $63,362 figure. What is all included in that? Is that what, just their wages or wages, insurance, everything is paid? What is that?
Yeah, I don't know there's a list of what's in there. All the detail behind all these accounts is in the QuickBooks file, which I didn't bring with me. I thought I was gonna be doing like a basic overall presentation of the financial statements, but I can get that information for you.
Yeah, if you could, I'll give you my email address, you can just email it to me.
Yeah, do you have something that you'd like to read in a letter talk, letter take the floor?
Well, I mean,
No, this was just, she was here for just a question and answer period. If anybody had any questions about,
Did you have a presentation you wanted to do?
well, I was just gonna say that I did the audit and I found the books in the office to be very orderly. I think that they're even though they're not necessarily conforming to generally accepted accounting principles, which is what a CPA would do, that they're very orderly, and all of the numbers that I looked at, they checked out. You know, I did a pretty good analysis of all the numbers. So I presented you guys with a compilation report. This is a financial report that, yeah, I mean, it shows the revenues and expenses, and it shows the statement of financial position, but these are boring for most people, right? Definitely boring for them. But there are, I think that everything, in my opinion, I think that everything is in order there, and I think that the figures are correct. Having said that, I would say that there is room for improvement in terms of what we do to make, you know, the books, the accounting more up to date and more, possibly more compliant with generally accepted accounting principles. So I had, you know, I have those recommendations for you if you want them. We can do that like a side meeting or.
Sidewalk meetings.
Yeah. It's, yeah, and Carly already knows this because I've already discussed it with her, so.
is it the same recommendation? See that letter?
I summarized it, but yeah, it's basically what's in there. There's two main areas. One of them has to do with training and integrating everything onto one general ledger in QuickBooks, training for the staff, which is Carly. And the other thing would be an internal control analysis, which there's different levels of audits, and I basically did a very low-level audit. So in order to provide more assurances that the figures are accurate and that, you know, everything's protected and running smoothly, you would have to do a more sophisticated audit, and that would include auditing the internal controls. So what basically, you know, a full gap audit is a lot more intense. But from what I saw, I thought everything was fine. I'll definitely do that, yes.
Same thing, this is my question.
Can I?
Turn to Carly. You know, Carly can give it out too.
Anybody else have any questions for her?
Is that called full gap, GAP, audit, or what was that word?
GAAP, it stands for Generally Accepted Accounting Principles, GAAP. And if we do a full gap audit, we will issue a letter with the audit saying that we stand by the figures 100%, that we have not about, I'd say, not 100%, but close to 100%. It's a much more detailed audit. And we look at your systems that you have in place to protect the assets and to make sure that the financial statements are correct, things like that. So,
Now, this class for Carly to attend, who gives that class? Is that a webinar, or is it something that you would?
basically, I think Carly's really capable of doing what needs to be done, but I think that she needs individualized training. So I could do the training, or someone else could. Anybody else?
No, Are we allowed to ask questions?
Is there a fee for the?
I don't
training?
really want to open it up to the public. I mean, you want to ask her after the meeting.
Just how do we get a copy of that, Bob?
Oh,
Well, is it gonna be posted on the website? I don't know that answer.
No, it isn't.
we can get copies made for I.
And is there going to be a cost fee as well for the training?
There is a cost for training, but, and as far as posting the report, I mean, that's, I don't know how you guys do that, I mean, we can.
Well, I mean, the report's public information. You know, I can't see,
Make one copy and post it or something.
I can't see making people submit a right to know request to get a copy of the audit. I think, I may be wrong, but do they have to?
I mean, it's posted in some
In newspaper, yeah, so we'll get some copies made up and have them here for the next meeting.
Okay. Thank you.
I'll have Carly print them up.
You talking to this one?
Yes, please. Yes.
I can get you a copy.
Thank you.
Okay, and any other questions? Thank you. All right, amendment to the burning ordinance. Why did you, I don't have that.
It needs to be advertised though.
No,
No,
all right.
I thought it was advertised.
Not this side.
Not the amendment. I'll have Carly.
Yeah, there's some, she knows, there's some blanks as far as, I didn't know what the prior ordinance number was that she has it, I think, I think I sent it to her in a Word format, so she just plots
I'd
those.
like to make a comment on it. I think this times are too complicated. It's too confusing for people. It's gonna be hard to enforce.
What's too complicated?
We got all different days and times and
Monday through Thursday,